Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Camilla. I'm a trainee lawyer working in a law firm in London. I talk about things related to personal finance, personal development and law careers. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my 5 top tips for saving time. Now, I'm quite a busy person, as well as working full-time in a law firm, which is not a 9-to-5 job. I also run the Student Lawyer website and the Student Lawyer podcast and this YouTube channel, and there might be something else. I do have a list. Oh right, yeah. So when I was working full-time in my previous role in financial services, I was studying my LPC, which is the legal practice course, which for anyone who doesn't know is a master's level degree, and I did that around my full-time work as well, and I managed to get a distinction, which was 82%, so I did really well in that. And that all comes down to my ability to manage my time well and to save time and just to be efficient with time generally. So the businesses that I run outside of my full-time work, I have turned those around from either not making any money, which is the podcast, and also the Student Lawyer website, which used to make a loss. I have now turned them both into 5-figure businesses. It's definitely a hands-on role that I have. So I thought, people ask me all the time, how do you manage to get so much stuff done? You go to the gym as well every day. How do you manage your time? And so I thought creating this video would be a great way to just share some of the tips that I've picked up along the way. So let's get into the video without further ado. Number 1, my biggest piece of advice is outsourcing tasks that don't require my specific knowledge or my specific involvement. So I read a book recently called The Almanac. I don't know why I find this so hard to say. The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. And it's a fantastic book. I highly recommend it. But one thing that I took away from that is to outsource the tasks that don't require your specific involvement. And the way that you work out which tasks to outsource is by setting yourself a ridiculously high hourly rate. For example, Naval Ravikant's, when he was first starting out, he set his hourly wage to be $5,000 an hour. So anything which wasn't helping him to make money, then he would outsource, because otherwise he would be losing out that $5,000 an hour in his hourly rate. So the way that I apply this to my life is by outsourcing things that don't require my involvement, like going grocery shopping. I don't need to go to Tesco's. I don't need to walk up and down the aisles and pick out, the fruit and vegetables or whatever. I don't need to do that. And so that when I go to the Tesco's, it takes me about an hour, especially if there's traffic. It's not convenient. It takes a lot of time. And so I would rather pay, for example, £5 for a delivery slot to have someone bring the shopping to me, because it just saves me so much time, and I could be spending that time on my YouTube channel or the podcast or the Student Lawyer business. I could be doing any number of things, and walking up and down Tesco's supermarket aisles is not going to get me any closer to any of my goals. So another way that you could implement this is to get a cleaner, because if your time is worth £5,000 or $5,000 an hour, then you're not going to spend your time cleaning because it's not worth your time. Outsourcing tasks is a great life lesson that I've learnt from reading that book, and it's something that I use to save myself time so that I can get more stuff done. The second way that I save time is by adopting a somewhat minimal lifestyle. Now, I used to be the complete opposite. I've always been a bit of a hoarder, but I realized during the pandemic that these things that I was holding on to, I thought that keeping things was a free use of my time, or it was free, or it was not taking anything away from me, so why can't I just keep all this stuff? But that's actually not true, and I realized that it actually takes a lot of time and energy to maintain belongings, whether that's like cleaning belongings or just keeping things organized. Everything has a cost. I threw away so much stuff, and I just live a very minimal lifestyle now, and that saved me so much time. For example, getting ready for work used to take me at least 10 to 20 minutes to figure out what to wear in the morning. But now I just have 2 outfits. We're in March at the moment, and so it's still cold outside in England. I've got 2 outfits that I wear to work. A white jumper or a black jumper from Marks and Spencer's. These are the only 2 outfits. Oh, and I have 1 pair of trousers from Marks and Spencer's. I go into the office twice a week. I wear the white jumper on one day, the black jumper on another day. So when I get up in the morning and think, oh, what am I going to wear to the office today? I know it's either the black jumper or the white jumper. When I work from home, I have 5 black t-shirts that I bought all identical from ASOS at the beginning of the pandemic. I bought 5 black t-shirts and I just wear 1 per day. So again, I know what I'm going to wear every day. I don't have to think about it. It removes the amount of time that it used to take me to work out what I was going to wear. And I don't know if anyone watching this video can relate, but I used to change my outfits at least twice on a good day. And then I'd have to end up throwing my clothes on the bed and then have to tidy them up when I get home. So all of that just creates clutter in your life, clutter in your mind, and it creates decision fatigue, and you can just eliminate all that by just being very minimal. And that's what I've done. I just live a very minimal lifestyle. So the third thing that I do, it doesn't necessarily save me time or create more time, but it helps me to maximize the time that I do have and spend it more efficiently. I worked out that I am way more productive in the morning, or I just have more energy to get high energy tasks done. So I will go to the gym in the mornings only, because I know that I won't go in the evening. When I'm working from home, I'll typically wake up at 5:30 in the morning, get to the gym for before 6 in the morning, and then I'll be ready to start work by 8:15, 8:30. So I get my workout done before most people have even woken up. Obviously there are some other people that wake up early as well. The point is I get it done early because I have more energy in the morning. This also works really well if I've got something at work that needs doing and it needs a lot of my focus and a lot of my attention, then I will spend that time, instead of going to the gym, I'll spend it at home working solidly without any distractions, because I'm sure you know what it's like. Between the hours of 9 to 5, I receive a lot of emails, I have people calling me, I have a lot of distractions. So if I need to get something done that needs a lot of focus or needs doing urgently, I will do that instead between the hours of 6 in the morning and 9 in the morning, when I know I won't be disturbed. So it's not even necessarily about creating more time, it's about being more efficient and more effective with the time that you do have. I did this when I was doing the LPC, so my master's, whilst I was also working in financial services. Most mornings, at least 3 mornings a week anyway, I did still go to the gym, but I didn't go as often as I do now. I would spend the mornings working on my master's, because again, I knew that my attention was better in the morning, and after work I got tired. So I would do things that didn't really require my brain power in the evening. So potentially working on the student lawyer, where I just had to respond to emails. I would do that after work, whereas before work I would study, where I needed to use my brain because I knew I had more energy. I'm also happy to work on the weekends, because I don't really subscribe to the idea that society tells you what is a working day and what isn't a working day. I don't really see the weekend as anything different, and so I will happily do the student lawyer work on the weekends, and I always do my YouTube channel related stuff on the weekends as well. I do think that, you know, taking breaks and having rest is really important, but I would rather do that when I feel like taking a break, rather than taking a break because it's a Sunday and that's what I feel like I should do because society tells me to. I would rather keep working to achieve the things that I want to achieve. For me, a weekend is just another working day, and I'd rather take rests, for example, in the evenings. So the fourth thing that I do is eliminating distractions. Now, I do this by having less friends. It's not really a conscious thing that I do, like cutting people out of my life. I'm not like that, but I just have less friends because of the way that I choose to live my life. I'm less of a social person, and I have good friends, high quality friends that I've had for a very long time, and I typically only make plans a couple of times a month to see them and socialize, and the rest of the time, you know, I'll spend the weekends doing things like working on the podcast or working on my YouTube channel, because I get enjoyment from that. And I completely believe that you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around with, so I do keep that in mind as well. I would rather have less friends and go out less, but have higher quality friends, and then spend the time that I've got, or the time that I save by not socializing as much, spend that trying to achieve my own personal goals. The fifth thing that I do to save time is to set alarms. Now, I recently read the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, and I thought it was a really interesting book. I didn't find that all of it really applied to me, but I did pick up some quite interesting and helpful tips from the book, and this was one of the things that I started adopting, and it is the idea that Parkinson's law exists. So again, not a new phenomenon. I've heard of Parkinson's law before. I know the premise behind it, which is essentially that the length of time that it takes you to do a task will expand by the amount of time that you actually have to do it. And so the idea behind setting alarms is that you force yourself to do something in a shorter period of time, therefore freeing up more time for you to work on other things. So how I would typically use an alarm is where I think, okay, if I'm going to sit down and do this task, what is the least amount of time that it will take me, or it should take me to do this? For example, the other day, instead of just sitting down and writing podcast questions for guests that I had coming on the show, I set an alarm for 30 minutes and said to myself, okay, I'm going to give myself 30 minutes to write 10 podcast questions, which includes researching the guest and, planning the whole episode. I'm going to give myself 30 minutes to do this. So I set an alarm, I did it in 30 minutes, and before I used alarms, that would have taken me a couple of hours to do. And it's definitely something I'm going to implement into other areas of my life because I can see how effective it is, and Parkinson's law is real. Those are my 5 tips. I did actually think of another one whilst I was talking, and it's not something that I wrote down, but I definitely batch tasks together. If I've got lots of emails to respond to, I'll do them all in one go. I'll set aside a couple of hours and just blast through the inbox rather than picking up emails as they come in. For the student lawyer, people know that I only work part-time there. I put it on my email signature to say that you might not get a response straight away. So I will sit there, typically dedicate 3 hours a week to blasting through my emails. I do them all in one go, which saves me so much more time, because if I was dipping in and out of them all the time, then I'd be distracted, and it would prevent me from having clear focus on the other things in my life, like my full-time job. Those are my 5 tips plus a bonus tip that I wanted to share about how I get loads of stuff done. I don't quite get as much done as Beyonce, but I'm working on it. I hope you found this video useful or helpful, or at least interesting. If you enjoyed this video, then you'll definitely enjoy this one, so go and click on this one over here, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.